So I am Dr. Ashley Gaddy Robbins, and I am the founder and principal consultant of Ashley Gaddy Enterprises. So my organization really looks to center humanity in everyday spaces, whether that's at work or whether that is in the community. People think that they're doing right by people. Most of the time they ain't. And so through strategy development, speaking, training, etc., I'm able to really assess where people are when it comes to their people and culture and kind of set a strategy and path that allows them to really do people first. My tagline is people first, period. Like, we ain't got to talk about nothing else. If you ain't talking about people first, we need to have a different conversation. So that's the work that I do. But I'm honored to be here at MOMScape because this is really a intersection of my lived, personal, and academic experiences. So I am a wife and mother of 4, but I went from 0 to 4 kids in 1 year. And so what I mean by that is, it was just me and my dog, honey, and I was just living my little single life. You couldn't tell me nothing. I jumped from city to city, state to state with different jobs, but I was always kind of in prayer or kind of wanting someone, you know what I'm saying? And then the guy who friend zoned me in high school, who I had a crush on, slid in my DMs in September of 2020. And because we've been knowing each other from high school, I knew he already had kids. So I knew that. I knew that going on our first date. I knew that that's what it was. I knew their names. Again, we knew each other. So I prayed for a kind man and got a kind man and 3 kids. And so that is my story. And then me and him have one together. So I have a preteen, I have twin 10-year-olds, and I have a toddler, all girls. And so that has its own lived experience in general, with me having to enter motherhood really quickly. And then my professional experience, I center Black women all the time. That is just kind of my work, women of color and Black women. But my academic research looks at the ways in which women, Black women and women of color specifically, resist every day through systems of power and oppression. That is the work that really is bringing me here. And from that research and my lived experience, I really looked into what does care look like for us, what does capacity look like for us, and what does community look like for us. And it's very important for me to start at the systems level, because sometimes we often think that the things that are happening in our life, it's just situational. And more times than not, there is a system of power, racism, sexism, capitalism, etc., that has created a norm or expectation for us to fit into. And oftentimes we have a process of staying at the individual level that we think you did something, or I did something, or something ain't just right about our situation. It's like, no, that's been the pattern that was strategically crafted out to put us in a certain positionality. And so when I really started looking at motherhood and community from a systems level, I was able to then find the ways that we resist that type of stigma and those expectations and that oppression every day. So my work looks at what I call everyday resistance strategies, and that really taps into my work in what I call motherhood justice. And so I really like to have the intersections of mothering and how we use mothering to change the world in a positive light, and looking at systems is the way that I do that. So when we're thinking about mothering, when we're thinking about motherhood, the reality is it's a lot. And being a real mom real fast, I'm finding out still what a lot means. I was just telling somebody the other day, people told me that the preteen was gonna be in her room. You know what I'm saying? They were like, she gonna be in your room, she ain't got want nothing to do with you, she gonna be in her phone. No, the preteen is talking to me. She telling me all about the 7th grade tea. She telling me about what she watching, and I'm like, I didn't plan for that. I was gonna try to use the energy on your sisters, because I thought she was gonna be in your room. But you're not in your room. You in my face. And while I love that, grateful, because that is a gift that she wants to be around me. especially with me creating this safe space and not biologically giving birth to her. I am very grateful, but I didn't plan for that. And so at times I feel like I don't have capacity to hold all 4 kids at the same time. And then you're telling me I gotta feed you daily? You know what I'm saying? Like every day. And not only do I have to feed you every day, I have to think of the menu and the grocery list and then go grocery shop for the meals I cook for you to eat. And until we really break down all the layers of kind of things like eating, paying attention to your kids, on top of the fact that you yourself probably should eat too, right? On top of the fact that you probably should go for a walk every once in a while, you should probably drink water to hydrate, you know, basic needs. We really find that we are stretched and we don't have the capacity to hold. So, and then yesterday, you gotta be a good friend. You know what I'm saying? Last night's session, so we gotta be a good friend. The session we just left, oh, and then there's the man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's there too, from time to time, depending on your situation. And so, we really need to take a look at the ways in which systems and circumstances shape our capacity. So what I talk about is stop asking folks, just how are you? Because that question sometimes is not enough. The question that should be asked is, do you have capacity for the question I'm about to ask or for the information I'm about to give you? Because folks love to just barge in and be like, let me tell you what happened. And it's just like, you didn't even check on me first to see if I had capacity to receive what you about to dump on me. And more times than not, Black women, women of color, they're dumping it on you for you to hold. And they're not saying, let's share. They're saying, no, here it is, all for you, you hold it. And then it feels sometimes like they get to walk away, feeling relieved, and you're like, I'm holding all your stuff now. And sometimes when we talk about check-in, check on your strong friends, check in, we just go, how you doing? That might not be the right question. We need to be checking in on people's capacity. Do you have capacity to answer a question? Do you have capacity to receive what I'm about to give you? And then we need to be ready for the honest answer. Because much like that question, how you doing? Folks expect for you to say they're fine. And then when you don't, they go, huh? Wait, I had already programmed in my mind that you were gonna tell me you were fine. And so when you don't, you took me by surprise. Same with the capacity question. If folks say, if you ask, you know, do you have capacity for this question I'm about to ask you? And you say no, they'd be like, no. Why are you not making time for me? Well, I asked the right question. Why is it that I asked the right question and you still didn't say yes? It's like my toddler. We teaching her how to say the word please, but she thinks that because she asks nicely, she'll get it. And that's not how it works. You can ask nicely and still not get it. So just because you ask the right question doesn't mean the answer is going to be yes. And so we really need to train up our friends and our boos and sometimes even our kids to really make that a check-in question for us first. I need y'all to be asking if I got capacity first. Don't just be dumping your stuff on me. Co-workers, baby, I need you to ask if I have capacity before you just barge into my cubicle putting your workplace trauma on me. I was over here doing my assignment. And then they'd be like, girl, let me tell you what happened in the meeting. Hold up. What if I don't have capacity to hear or receive what happened in the meeting? So that is capacity. On top of all the things of mothering, on top of all the things that we hold. And when I talk about systems of power and oppression, I'm talking about messages like, it is the Black woman or woman of color's duty to be able to nurture the entire family without any form of joy. That is a message that is created strategically by systems, right? Black women being laborers. That is a message that is deliberately created by systems, right? And so that's what I mean. I wanted to give some practical examples of what I mean, how systems can create messages and expectations, and then people use their expectations to treat us just like that. They're gonna double our load. They're gonna ask us to serve on another committee. They're gonna ask us to cook for the function after church, even though it's the night before. But you such a good cook though. Me being good don't make me eligible. See what I'm saying? Just because I'm good at something does not mean I have the capacity to deliver it for you. But systems say that we're strong. Systems say that we're laborers. System says we get stuff done, and we do. But not at the cost for us. It should never be at the cost for us. So that's why I look at the importance of community care. When we are tapped, when we are stretched, when we are at capacity. So community care is a concept in Black feminist thought, mostly around, delivered by Audre Lorde and Angela Davis. We are two key components, two key Black feminist theorists around community care. And the way that it talks about community care is we do have to resist this narrative of us carrying everything, and we do need to be open enough to share. Share the load, share our emotions, let people in, let people take care of us. We be loud saying we need somebody to take care of. I take care of all y'all. Who take care of me? Don't nobody take care of me. And then somebody be like, let me take care of you. Be like, no, don't even worry about it. I'm good. And it be like, okay, so what you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you want from me? Sometimes my husband just be like, I'm gonna just sit here until you tell me exactly what to do, because you just said you needed something. I provided it for me, and it felt like you pushed me away harder, when I gave you the thing you asked for. So community care allows us to be vulnerable for our people to take care of us. Joy is not a luxury, it is a necessity in the ways in which we build community. And if we're honest, community is the way in which our culture has been built. We have always, even before the Middle Passage, we have always been connected through tribal community culture. And so, when we enter a society that's very individualistic, very competitive, very hard, sometimes we lose some of those values of community, so we can be strong all by bad all by ourselves, or we can be, in isolation. And joy doesn't function in isolation. Care doesn't function in isolation. And even self-care is tied in tandem with community. It is not isolated. Self-care is not even isolated by itself. So some ways in which I want us to think about capacity and community care. The first thing is I really do want you all to put that question in your toolbox of asking if you have capacity. Train up your folks who say they love and care about you to ask that question first. If you're a manager or if you lead people at the job, train them up to ask you first if you have capacity before they just come. Even though you're the manager, even though you're the supervisor, you need to train them up to say, hey, ask me if I have capacity first, because it's not you, it's not just you. I tell my kids, you ain't the only kid in this house. And so I have to really look at the ways in which I'm thinking about myself and everybody else. So that's the first takeaway, is to make sure that we are letting folks ask us if we have capacity first. The second thing is tell the honest truth about if you have capacity or not. Because we'll lie. We'll be bone tired, feet hurting, and then somebody say, do you have capacity? All right, I'll do it. You're right. Because here's where community shows itself in our lives. We are nurturers by nature. We feel bad for the people if we can't do it. Well, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? If I don't take care of it, they're going to be out there by themselves, and then we'll make up a whole story. They're going to be cold. They're going to be hungry. I need to cook for them. Go ahead and get the burners out. Go ahead and get the catering pans. We'll cook big meals. Go ahead and get the catering pans because I don't want them hungry. You know they lost their aunt 3 months ago. Yeah, they did. And we are lifting them up. But you're tired and you know you're tired. And yet you still press on. And yet you told them you would do it. So on the one end, we need to have folks ask us if we have capacity. On the other end, we have to give the honest answer. And we don't need to cloud that in so much care for others. Community means that they would respect your no. You need to have people around you who respect your no. And if they don't respect your no, that is not your problem. You need to ask them, why are you not receiving me in my most authentic self? I've shown up for you constantly. I answer every phone call. You know I'm gonna text back. I'll drive from a different state to come support you and stay by your side. Why is it that when I set boundaries for myself and I tell you I don't have capacity, you get an attitude or you feel some type of way? We need to have a conversation because now I need to assess your proximity to me. Last night when she was talking about them layers of where friends sit, are you an inner court friend? Or are you gonna be like, you know what, you just moved to the outer courts. You just moved in that outer circle, right? So these are just things I want us to think about. When we infuse community support in our everyday practice, we are actually engaging in an act of resistance because we are choosing ourselves and we are being surrounded by love in a society that says we should only endure pain. Pain is normalized for Black women. Joy is not. Labor is normalized for Black women. Care is not. So when you wrap yourself in community care, and when you are real about your capacity, you are actually engaging in everyday resistance. And so I encourage you to press on in care. I encourage you to monitor your capacity and be honest about it. And I encourage you to really center community and thrive in the brilliance and beauty that you are. So that is care, community, and capacity. You have my business cards are on your table. And then if you want to do like, you know what, let's connect after this. The larger cards go to my Calendly. Very quickly, were there any questions before we transition to the next speaker? Just want to leave room. Doesn't have to be no obligation over. I'm actually introverted. So I'll be like, no questions. But I'll be like, okay, people need the answers to the questions. But I also like to give that 7-second pause for people to process because I'm a processor too. So don't feel obligated if there are no questions, but I wanted to open the floor if there are. Awesome. Well, thank you ladies for your time. I hope you took a nugget or a takeaway. And we have Ms. Shamika next.